Hey guys, you're watching Gamers Treehouse. I want to discuss the Nintendo Doom theory that everyone's been discussing lately. If you type in the word Nintendo right now into YouTube, you're going to get a whole bunch of videos on people saying it's going to fail, Nintendo is for kids, it's lost its third executive year in a row for not making profit, this and that, doom and gloom, talk of getting rid of Nintendo CEO Iwata because they feel someone should take responsibility. And yeah, basically all the doom and gloom. Now, there's one thing which I've noticed people have not taken into consideration. Now, this isn't simply to stick up for Nintendo, but you know, I like it when all the cards on the are on the table, and not just, you know, the select few that we use. Now, what I want to bring up is, yes, console sales are very, very important. Obviously, they get money. They expand their user base. The more consoles sold, the better. Duh. Now, the thing is, which people seem to be forgetting, is Nintendo is in a little bit of a different field to others. Now, I'm not saying they're not relevant to other consoles. And other rubbish you hear, which even Nintendo has stated that, which is silly, but moving on. What I wanted to bring up is I'm looking at this chart of how a typical game is split up, because obviously there's a lot of people involved in making games. You have the developer, you have the publisher, you have the retailers which are going to sell the games for you, you have marketing, the console maker and so forth, and they're all split up into different pies. So for example, the having a look at this chart, it's just for an example, so take it with a large grain of salt. 20% goes to the console maker, apparently, you know. Okay, so 20% goes to that. The publisher will take anywhere between 15 to 30%, depending on if it's a big profile game. Lawyers are always involved in these sort of things, so they crack different deals. Apparently 15% or so goes to the actual developer, so you know, those making the actual game, to the retailer, as I said, and whatever's left over goes to marketing. Now, Nintendo has the most exclusive IPs. In other words, games that you can't get anywhere else, and they own fully. Now, this really needs to be taken into consideration when we're talking finances and success. When, let's compare it to Sony. I'm a big fan of Sony, so don't take this as a hate thing. But Sony has X amount of exclusive games, right? Not that many, you know, they have a bit. Microsoft have a bit with the Xbox One. Nintendo has more, you know. They have their 10 different exclusives on the Wii U, on the 3DS. Can't get it anywhere else. Now, why do I bring this up financial-wise? Well, they get a much larger cut of the pie. Going back to this thing here, right? 15% goes to the developer. Okay, that's Nintendo. They get 15%. 20% goes to the console maker. That's Nintendo. They own that console. So instead of getting 15% of their sales, we've now jumped to 35%. For example, grain of salt, but they obviously get much better. 30% goes to the publisher. Again, Nintendo. Do you see where I'm going with this? Other game developers and consoles have to have a multi-platform to make up the difference, but Nintendo owes everything. So 2 million, let's say they sell 1 million and something units of one of their Mario games, which they do easy, and they even exceed it. Nintendo will get, I don't know what, 60% of that, more, you know, with the remaining going to marketing and retailers, and everything else goes back to them, because they are their own bosses pretty much. They own the console and the games. Whereas another developer, if they're to release their game on another console, they'll get 15%, maybe 20, you know, give or take. That's not really that much money. There's a reason why they have to have it on multiple platforms. Now, the whole point of me bringing this up is just remember, the next time you hear doom and gloom over the Nintendo hardware sales, just remember that they're making money from the hardware, yes, but they're making even more money from the software, okay? Mario Kart 8 is coming out. That is going to sell so much. so many millions and millions and millions and millions of copies, and Nintendo is going to take a very large piece of that cake. They're the developer, they're the publisher, they're the creators, they're the console owners. They're getting a huge piece of that pie. You have Smash Brothers. Every time they release a game, just money thrown. They released that remake of Zelda Wind Waker HD, which is one of the best remakes I've ever seen. New gameplay features, light and textures. They didn't get lazy. And also remember, at the same time, they have a 3DS and they're doing the exact same thing. They're selling 3DS units. That is selling amazingly well. Every time they release a Mario game, Pokemon, Farmville, the different variations of Mario, because remember, you have the 2D sort of style, you have the 3D, you have the karts, you have everything else. You have the Zeldas, you have the Donkey Kongs, you have the Kirbys. We're talking like all these IPs, all these different games, you know. Between the two of them, there'll be more than 20 within a short amount of time. And Nintendo is taking a huge piece of the pie from all of those games. So the money they're missing out on with the console sales, they're making it up software-wise. And obviously, with time, the user base will expand. It will most likely be third in the race, you know, but that really doesn't matter. The point is, they have their games. Their games sell because they're great. Nintendo will be fine, so stop with this doom and gloom. It's not going to happen. They make the best games in the world. They are among the best. They will sell. They will get their money. So, oh, and you know, Nintendo to go mobile, Iwata has been making mistakes lately, that's true, but the fact he won't go to mobile is great. The IPs sell because they're affiliated, they're associated with quality. You know, we have to wait years for a full 3D Mario game. You have to wait a whole new console for every Mario Kart game. And you have to wait a whole new console for the Zelda games. And they make it worth the wait. It comes out and it's fantastic. Now if those IPs come out on mobiles, this touchscreen rubbish for the casuals, now the image drops down. The quality associated with Nintendo drops down, and that will result in less sales. Anyways guys, thanks for tuning in. You've been watching Gamers Treehouse. Be sure to like and subscribe. Next time I'll be discussing maybe something Nintendo related, maybe something Xbox One related. Now occasionally you guys send me emails to say, you know, topics you'd like me to cover. One of my subscribers wanted me to cover Nintendo more, and as a big fan I'm more than happy to do that. So thanks for tuning in, I'll see you next time, and yeah, peace out.